Class Prof JC here. I want to welcome you to week 3 here on the Prof JC Leadership Podcast. And this week we're going to be talking about Adam 1 versus Adam 2. So in your book by David Brooks, which I think is probably one of the best books that you can have, and it's a book that I recommend that you keep with you even after your time in graduate school. There's a lot in there that we're going to look at over the coming semester, but I want to look at this idea that he talks about Adam 1 versus Adam 2. So he's got this concept that he talks about, and he bases it off of an essay that's written by an American rabbi, Joseph Soloveitchik, and I might be saying that wrong, but that's what it's based off of, where he distinguishes between these two parts of who you and I are, which is Adam 1 and Adam 2. And here's what he has to say. He talks about the fact that Adam 1 is the external Adam. It's the resume Adam. Okay, so it's all the things that we work on. It's the reason why we go to school, so we can get the degrees. It's the promotions at work. It's the certifications. It's all this kind of stuff that can lead us to greater power, greater influence, greater money, whatever it may be. It's those things. Okay. Now here's the reason why I know that you probably at some level of your life, you're pursuing these things because you're in this degree. Okay. Very few people pursue a master's degree that don't have a little bit of Adam 1 inside of them. That's the resume side to us. Okay. That's the external Adam. It's the Adam that we show to the world. Okay. And, what we try to do, at least what I try to do, and there's no shame in it, is we try to make sure that what we show to the world is something good, is something that's refined, something that's hopefully a little bit educated, something that other people can learn from, that maybe they can be inspired by. But here's the problem, and this is why we're going to talk about it in this class, where we talk about this issue of integrity. The issue is that every single one of us, we have Adam 1, but we also have what David Brooks would call Adam 2. Okay, and Adam 2 is the inner side of us. Okay, it's the internal side to who we are, right? It's the part of us that wants to embody certain moral qualities, to have that serene inner character, to not only do good but to be good. That's the part of us. Adam 1, as the article in front of me says, wants to conquer the world. Adam 2 wants to obey a calling and serve the world. Okay, so here's the issue with that. Both of these things are great, and so this isn't this, hey, Adam 1 is a good part of us, Adam 2 is a negative part of us. It just is. It's the fact that every single one of us, we have something that wants to do something big in the world, wants to conquer the world, wants to live our purpose, wants to achieve, wants to do big things. But we also have this other side of us that's trying to live kind of that moral side to us. Okay. The problem in all of this is Adam 1, those traits of us, if we're not careful, will lead us into directions that maybe we don't want to go. Okay, it could lead us to relationships we don't want to go. It might lead us to degrees and jobs that we don't even want. That, we're trying to do something that will impress the outside world. We're trying to do something that might impress our dad, our mom. Maybe we didn't get enough hugs growing up as a kid. We didn't get that affirmation we needed. And so we're trying to do something that will impress maybe our parents or that teacher, right? I have multiple stories about, when I was growing up. The one that stands out the most is in 4th grade, I had a teacher. I rounded the corner. I won't go into the whole story, but I rounded the corner. And at the time I stuttered. I still stutter to this day, but at the time it was a really horrible stutter. And so what I did, because I got made fun of, for that. And so what I did to kind of overcompensate for that was I became the class jokester. And I also wasn't a very smart kid. No one ever thought I was going to be a professor. I never, ever would have thought that I would be teaching in a college, one day. That was just never on the cards. But I was also kind of the class clown, and I was just kind of, I was just kind of a pain in the rear end, to be honest. And I rounded the corner one day, and I heard my teacher say this about me. Said, he's not going to make, JC is not going to make anything out of his life. And I'll never forget that moment. I mean, I'm still talking about it. That would have been, I think I was 10 years old at the time. I'm 44 now, so that's 34 years ago, over 3 decades ago, and I still talk about it. If I'm not careful, that drives me. Okay. Rounding the corner and hearing a teacher say that about you, someone who's so influential to me, if I'm not careful, that statement will drive me. That's the Adam one part of who I am, right? That's the one that has been driven for years to build a resume and to kind of prove these people wrong. And then I'll be honest with you, in my late teens and my 20s, I made a lot of personal choices that weren't great. And so much so that I almost banished my own self from my hometown and moved out here to California like 20 or almost 20 years ago. And I stay, and don't let your mind wander on that. It's not like anything major. I don't have some kind of a second life back there or anything like that. Um, but I just made some personal choices that weren't great. And so I wanted to run, right? And so I ended up, coming out here. But even that sometimes I still feel like I'm trying to prove people wrong. Cause I remember I had somebody tell me right before I moved out here, and I was about 25 at the time. I think it was 24, 25. And they made a statement to me. They said, I don't think you're going to last very long out there. And, I think they expected something else. So it's these kind of statements, if we're not careful, they lead us to, and you probably have some of your own if you're really honest with yourself, something that happened maybe earlier on in your years. And if we're not careful, those things drive us versus that Adam too, right? That inner side of us, that part of us that wants to have that serene calm, that part of us that wants to be. Now, here's the deal. And here's what he talks about, which I think is good, is the reality is that we all have this Adam 1 and Adam 2 part of who we are. The challenge for us is to tame uh, these aspects of who we are, especially that Adam 1 side. But I also think that there are some people out there that have so much, and you probably know these people, so much Adam 2, right? Which is that inner character and that solemn, serene spirit, but they don't do anything. Okay. So having both of these aspects of our character are great. The problem is they can't drive us. How this comes to integrity is this. Okay. If we're not careful, either one of us, either one side of us or another will kind of lead us in a direction we don't want to go, and we're not going to be able to live a life filled with integrity. And what did we talk last week? That integrity in this course is it's a whole complete person. It's living, an integer, right? That's what the word is based on. Is not it's not a fraction. It's complete. So integrity just means that we are who we are. Okay. It's not this, I think our society has put this good term on the word integrity, that people of integrity are good people. Well, not always. And I think I shared that last week, that some of the people I know that have the most integrity are not really that great of people, but they're full people, they're whole people, and they don't have to fake the funk for anybody. They get to be who they are. So part of this living with integrity means understanding that there's an Adam 1 part to who you are, and there's an Adam 2 part to who you are, and then we bring that in concert with one another, and then we get to live with integrity. So if we're not careful, we try to shut down Adam 1. And again, if we're not careful, especially those of us with faith backgrounds, you go to churches, and, a lot of churches, I've heard some bad theology out there on success and leadership and business and all this kind of stuff. And, talking about if you have a lot of money, you're not a good person. I mean, I grew up with that kind of an image, and it's taken me years to get over that people with money aren't good people. And that's not true, right? And I heard people talk, and for me it was big time drive. Like, stop being so driven, stop being a person who's trying to set these big goals. Can't you just be content, JC? And and there's obviously something there's something true about that. I believe gratitude is a huge value of mine, but I'll never be a content person. But I grew up with people telling me it's not good to have drive, because they're deeply religious people. Somehow their view of faith, their view of God, led them to believe that you shouldn't be driven and you shouldn't go out and pursue big things. And that's not true at all. But the one thing I've had to do after I finally owned up to that ambitious side of myself, that driven side, is say, okay, but there's also an Adam 2 part to who I am, which means it's that character, it's that strong inner character that has to be shaped as well. So the resume side to us, the character side to us. When we get these things lined up, this is what leads us to a life of integrity. And the great thing about this program, and I've seen it, I've been in this program, teaching this program long enough, first as an adjunct, now as a full-time professor, where I've seen some really cool stories. And one of the best stories was somebody who walked away from a job that she thought she needed to have, because it's just what she thought she should have done, and joins this program, or she joins our graduate programs here at Point Loma. She was in the leadership programs, ended up quitting her job because she realized that wasn't, she was doing it for all the wrong reasons, right? She wasn't living completely in integrity, is what she would say. And that's one of the greatest stories. And now she's on a much better path. I think she has much more peace about who she is because now she's living in integrity. Okay. And that's important for all of us. So here's the question that I want to leave you with today. I really want you to think about this. Again, I don't dive into your answers a ton, but this class, the reason why we do this, it is for reflection. It's really important that you take time and that you reflect. That's important for a leader to do. So here's what I want you to reflect on. I'd love to the extent that you feel comfortable. Okay. I want you to list off those Adam 1 traits about yourself. Okay. And again, if you need any help on that, feel free just to Google it, David Brooks, Adam 1, Adam 2. There's things that come up about it. But if you have the book, dive into the book. Okay. I think it's the introduction. It's not even the first chapter. It's the introduction that talks about Adam 1 and Adam 2. Just read that. It would be value add for you to read that chapter anyway. Dive into it and see what he talks about. And then I want you to list off the traits for you personally. Don't steal from David Brooks. Don't steal from me. Don't steal from, but what are your Adam 1 traits? And then Adam 2 is kind of that strong inner character. It's that person that we strive to become. It's that private world inside of us. To the extent you feel comfortable, share what those are. And then here's what I'd like for you to do in this reflection. Talk about, okay, and again, this doesn't have to be a full paper. Just do some reflection to the point that you feel comfortable with it. Talk about some of the struggles you have with your Adam 1 and Adam 2 kind of, matching up. And again, I just shared with you mine, this idea of religion. And I struggled for years to think that you could be ambitious and you could go after big things. But then as I begin to go after them, then I realized that this character was really important as well. Being a person who is kind, being a person who is compassionate, being a person who listens. That's the big one for me. I tell people all the time, I get paid to talk. I get paid to talk in the marketplace with consulting and training work that I do. I get paid to talk, here at Point Loma Nazarene to teach. So something I have to learn how to do is shut up and listen. Okay, that's that Adam 2 part of me that I'm constantly striving to get better at, in my home life, in my professional life, my personal life, whatever it is. And so we all have those things. So I just want you to talk about, what is Adam 1 to you? What are some of those traits for you? What's Adam 2 for you? And then what are some of your struggles or challenges that you find in bringing Adam 1 and Adam 2 together? I look forward to reading your response. Really dive in on this. Please don't fake the funk. This class is all for you. Okay, it's to ensure you become the person you want to be, a person of high integrity, which means that you are a whole and complete person adding value to the marketplace. Hey, thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.